Today we're discussing Estonia citizenship and their residency program, whether or not this is a good move if you're looking to increase your freedom abilities, have multiple passports. And right off the bat, something I have to say with Estonia is they don't actually recognize dual citizens. So this is a big problem I see right off the bat. Now, depending on what you're optimizing for, so again, each case is different, obviously. So if you specifically just want to live in Estonia and be a citizen there, you're content with just one country, this could be an interesting play, and I'll explain essentially how their residency program works. There really isn't any current CBI program, Citizenship by Investment program, that is formal. Now, a lot of these countries have informal citizenship by investment programs that we can talk about maybe in another video. But with this, the essential best way to get citizenship in Estonia, if you're not already a citizen, is through naturalization. Now, how do you get a residency here? That is basically what moves you towards naturalization. In some countries, you can have a residency program, and within 2 years, maybe even a year and a half, at least apply for naturalization. And once you're naturalized, you can essentially get citizenship. So how this works in Estonia is either you invest 65,000 euros into a business in Estonia, so you're hiring some people, or if you're self-employed, it's right around 32,000. So it's an interesting situation. Again, these things are constantly changing. So when I make these videos on different citizenship by investment programs, different residency things, you have to understand that this market is constantly fluctuating. So if you have any individual questions or just concerns with any of these programs, or really any more questions just as far as dual citizenships, citizenship by residency, all these different things, citizenship by descent, you can reach out to us at contact@investglobal.io. We have that link down below in the description. But yeah, just happy to help you out there for individual questions, because again, this is kind of like a blanket statement on some of these countries. And since literally we're seeing things change every month, sometimes bi-weekly, it's pretty crazy with different programs going on. It's important to stay up to date with this and understand that these things are fluctuating and can change. So typically we see the trend going in, citizenship is becoming more expensive because people are looking to increase freedom. We saw in 2020 and this last year, the United States passport was on the same level as far as freedom of movement as a lot of the African passports. Now, that's not knocking the African countries at all. It just purely objectively looking at it. Okay, what countries can you enter? The U.S. was on that same level as a lot of third world countries. So it's important to at least contemplate, okay, at least think multiple steps deep on, do I want to just be stuck in this country, or do I want to have multiple passports? And again, this is where I think there is a decent opportunity with Estonia if you specifically love Estonia. If you've been there, if you really enjoy living there, some of the different cities, I do think it's an interesting play. It is a pretty strong passport as far as that goes, and it's an interesting situation because it's fairly cheap when you compare this. And again, it's not going to be fast track. The problem here is you essentially will be able to apply for a permanent residency after about 2 to 3 years, depending on your qualifications. And then to apply for naturalization, so to actually move forward with the citizenship, it has to be 8 years living in Estonia. And this is, again, where there is some burden there. But again, if you're just looking to set up a life in another country, this could be an interesting option. Again, the problem that I see, just weighing the pros and cons, is that they don't recognize this dual citizenship. And hopefully, you could kind of go into it with this thesis that maybe they'll change this. But again, that's kind of playing with fire in my opinion. Ideally, countries kind of open up and see it more from a business aspect instead of just political aspect, and go, okay, we want the best people coming to our country. And typically the best people, when you're looking at the global market, are people with dual citizenships at least, if not 3 to 4 passports. And I'm not sure exactly why Estonia does this. If you know, let me know in the comments down below. It just, in my opinion, it kind of decreases the people that would want to come in and help, innovate the country, help grow the economy, and all these different things. But when they say this, so let's say you have this permanent residency, 5 of these 8 years that I was talking about to become naturalized have to be with a permanent residency. So that's why you want to acquire this permanent residency as fast as possible. So if you injected that capital into a business, or you're self-employed and you brought that money into Estonia, this could set up an interesting situation where you get a permanent residency, you enjoy Estonia, maybe you kind of set up a life there, and acquire this passport. But again, in order to acquire this passport, you have to renounce whatever citizen you were before. So this is, I do see this as kind of a conflict of interest, if you will. I do think Estonia is a beautiful country, and the passport, as I said, is very strong. But again, you have to weigh this in the global market of passports. I do think there's better options out there, But like I said, if you're in love with Estonia, this could be an interesting play. And if you're not satisfied with where your country's moving towards, if you're living in the US and you see this continual rise in taxes, this continual societal unrest, and this crazy monetary stimulus, all these kind of issues kind of stirring the pot, and you maybe don't seem too happy on where things are moving, this is why I think you should look into second citizenships. At least have a second residency, in my opinion. There's pretty easy residencies you can set up throughout the world. Maybe if you're interested in that, I can make a video on just like, I don't know, like top 3, top 5 easy residency programs in the global economy. But as far as citizenship goes, again, this is a bit more convoluted because you have these multiple different factors to weigh. And then just to actually acquire citizenship, you have a lot of key things that you have to kind of check off the list. Again, reach out to me if you're curious of that individually. The only reason I don't state, it's like probably 10 to 15 things you have to kind of check off the list. But again, these things are changing constantly. So if I put up this video and then someone who's watching it in 2022, they're gonna be like, hey, what the heck? These things aren't the same. So again, just reach out to us. We'll send you updated things. I track these programs pretty frequently. And yeah, that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with our content. We don't just talk about citizenship by investments or residencies, but we talk about pretty much all global investment strategies, all global investment sectors. And yeah, also hit the notification bell to stay up to date because it's time-sensitive content. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, button all, invest global, and until next time.